Somebody commented in one of my videos, I think it was my crank no start 6.2 video, that their 6.2 truck starts up great cold, but then as soon as the fast idle clicks off, it'll start missing and jumping and not going right. And they're asking me what's the problem, or what do I think it is. Well, I don't know their truck, but my first thought was red. This is red. I think my timing video and a couple others have been done with red. Red I got as a trade for painting someone's M1010 ambulance. And the guy had picked it up, had no clue about its history. He got it from the Louisiana Forest Service. Well, actually, when we got it, someone had cut out all the wires and removed the fuse panel. So it was a dead truck. Who knows how long it had been sitting, and the whole kind of maintenance had been done to it in Louisiana. I think it was Alexandria where it picked up, but I should forget the name of the town who was written on the doors. I got a picture somewhere. Anyway, my son took Red down to Bear Truck, rewired the entire truck, got it running, and painted it, and then drove through an ice storm, and everywhere that a power sander was not used is now red again. Red. But my thought was this truck, because when we first got it, who knows how old the fuel in the tank was. Let's see if it runs. Before we spend any time working on it, let's see if it runs. Because I actually got it as a parts truck for my then 1009. And so we hot wired the thing, tried to fire it up. And it was smoking like crazy and just running terrible. And if you bop the throttle, just hit it. Like if you grew up with carbureted vehicles, when the automatic choke is on, you just bop your foot to clear the choke. Just a little bit of a rise, this thing would turn off. Oh yeah, that 1010 I painted had the exact same problem. He could be driving down the road and a 1010 ambulance has the 456 gears in it with a 6.2. So top speed is, what, 55, 56 miles an hour? He said he could be driving down the highway, screaming along, 50 miles an hour, and some fool pulls in front of him, which is stupid to do. A speed limit 70 something, he's going 55. But anyway, somebody pulls in front of him, he said he had to lift, engine would turn off. Or it would just terrible. And get back on again, he had no power for a while. Well, once we got wiring in this one, oh yeah, the 1010, it was the injection pump. I ended up swapping injection pumps as part of the painting, which paid for this. This one, once we got wires in it and we had the fast idle working, it would fire up and it would stumble and move and jump a bunch and smoke a little bit on startup and be smooth on fast idle. As soon as the fast idle clicked off, it would turn off, just off. I thought for sure it was going to need an injection pump. But since then it was still red and hadn't been much else done to it, let's just leave the injection pump till later. That's a perishable item. Let's go ahead and do everything else. So we did my son did most of the extra work on it. And we'd move it around. Of course, use its under own power to move around while we were painting it and doing body work and all the other stuff. And we started driving it because it still drove okay. It's just every now and then when the fast idle turned off and it was idling, the engine would turn off. It couldn't handle the low speed governor, couldn't keep it going. Once we put a couple tanks of fuel in it, it did great. And we never have done the injection pump on this one. That's been 10 years ago. So I chose this truck. It's 57 degrees out right now. It was 48 this morning, wind chill of 43. This truck has not been started in a couple weeks. You can see by the leaves on it. So I figure what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it up, pop the hood, and talk some more about if your fast idle turning off causes your engine to go bad or turn off, what it could be. So I thought I'd use this as an example. If we have enough battery, I'm not sure how long it's been since we started it. Well, it's in the yellow, so it should start. Let's see what happens. Glow plug is glowing. Glow plugs are glowing. Whoop. Do another cycle. I let go too soon. It's been a week since this thing started. Or I tried to start it, I should say. There. Yeah, a little bit of smoke and protest. It was sleeping well. Alright. So while this thing's warming up, hopefully you can hear the engine. You didn't see this? Oh yeah. So it's on fast idle. Excuse me. First thing to always check on these engines is air filter, fuel filter. We switched that one over to a Standine FM100 spin-on fuel filter base compared to the stock Chevrolet, everyone calls it a loaf of bread filter. So if you got good fuel filter, good air filter, and you can see it's running nice and smooth, you can hear it being nice and smooth. We're just waiting for it to get to a 94-degree coolant temperature and turn off the fast idle. You can hear that one rattle. I almost guarantee you that rattle, you hear that rattle? It's a little bit mechanical noise. I can almost guarantee it's going to be the bolt. It's there on the starter motor. Can't see it. Let's see. Power steering pump here. On the back of the power steering pump to the block, there's a little right angle. It's a different hum. There's a right angle bracket. That bracket gets loose sometimes. I'll bet if I tighten that bracket up, that'll be the end of that noise. Because they all do that bracket. Sooner or later, that bracket comes loose. I'm trying not to talk in case the fast idle turns off. You hear it surging as it's warming up. Surging is actually in conjunction with a little bit of smoke out the driver's side exhaust. I think we had a cylinder that wasn't running all the way. Because now it's smoothed out again. There, fast idle's off. Engine smooth as can be, that rattle's gone, but it didn't die. 10 years ago, this exact same injection pump would have turned off right then. So, make sure to zoom in so you can see this. This plunger right here is the fast idle solenoid. And When it magnetically released, it came back up. Alright, so if your engine, you just give a little thump like that. You do that and let go, and it dies, drive the truck. Let me turn it back off so you can hear me. Yeah, we're well in the green on the batteries. I'll let it run for a little bit, actually. Let the batteries charge. Alright. Maybe it'll get quieter if I stand back here. Let it run. That was just a little test we did, or I did, to hopefully demonstrate this thing. We've not changed the pump, but it was turning off when the fast idle disengaged. We drove it. I think one of the best advice for diesel engines I've ever seen is the 1963, 64. The deuce and a half manual for the gasser and the multi-fuel. I think it's 64. The dash 20 says if you have bad idle, hard start, blue exhaust, black exhaust, seepage around the head gasket area, blah, blah, blah. First thing to do is check all your filters, replace your filters, load it to max gross weight, drive 100 miles at maximum speed. When you come back, I think it says, see if problems still exist. These old diesels, drive them. Just drive them. And this thing here, we just drove it. My son ended up putting almost 40,000 miles on it between high school, some family trips we did in it together, and him going off to college for a year in it. It's running great now. So, that made it quieter. Insulation on the hood. Hopefully that answered the question. Get your fuel filter, air filter right. Make sure you got fuel. Make sure the fuel's somewhat new within a year or two. And as soon as the fast idle turns off, it still runs, but it's kind of hunting around. My next thought would be idle speed and then timing. My one video about using this truck as how to use a screwdriver to check your timing, just kind of a field test. Look that one up. Try that. If your timing's off, because the fast idle is not just that one plunger for the idle speed, there's also internal injection pump. It advances the timing on the injection pump. So if yours is not running right timing set, however it's set at, look at your timing marks and see if between the pump and the block you want to be just about a line width to the driver's side fender on your injection pump. That's the starting point. And anyway, hopefully that answered the question and helped somebody else out.